It's X.
It's Maisha.
And we're back with another banger.
So for this video, we're going to be doing 10 college tips. We wanted to do this because I feel like with the virus going on and everything like that, there's a lot of people that are graduating high school that haven't really gotten to go to college campuses and do like tours and stuff like that. I know at St. John's we were supposed to have Acceptance Students Day where it's like a big day on campus, and that was canceled for the virus. So I can only imagine what probably every other college and university is going through the same thing.
Exactly.
So this is basically 10 tips for going to college if you're in college and you feel like you need to, switch some things around. Even like if you're in college and you don't feel like you have enough time to really do what you want to do, like be in a relationship or anything like that. These are just 10 tips for you guys.
Okay.
So number 1 is be organized.
Key.
Organize everything, like your time, your assignments, if you have a job, just literally organize everything. Because if you try to cram everything and just, I guess, like remember it in your head just by yourself, you're gonna forget something.
Exactly. So like before I even met Maisha, before I started college, I was extremely unorganized. It was terrible. Like, she used to get mad at me because of
I did.
I was always doing things last minute. It was terrible. Like, I always thought I could just walk into a test and just take it. I was always somebody that was laid back. And, I kind of took it more serious now because, I knew how important it was to, take time, start my assignments on Sunday, and, kind of work throughout the week in order to prepare myself for the exam, or even just getting whatever assignment had to be due that week done early, so I didn't have to worry about doing it last minute where I'm rushing to submit assignment by midnight. And, like I said, I wouldn't let that affect me. So,
yeah, when I first met him, he had a backpack with papers.
Literally.
No folders, no binders, no notebooks, just papers. Exactly. Everywhere. Everywhere.
It's gotten better throughout the years.
Yeah, you definitely have gotten better. So tip number 2 is don't underestimate going far. So I know, a lot of you guys are probably in the house with your parents every single day now because of this whole quarantine, and you're just so ready to get out the house and go to college and go far. But you really have to assess what type of person you are. Like, I know people that moved from all over the place. Yeah. And I know people that love it, and I know people that hate it and transferred back. So I guess you have to really, and it's hard because in high school you really don't know the person you are yet. That's true. Takes college to really figure out who you are. So high school, you have to try and just say, am I able to be away from my family for Thanksgiving, or be away from my family for this amount of time? Because for little holidays like Thanksgiving, you figure you're only off Thursday and Friday. So you're not spending $500, $600, $700 round trip tickets to go home for 2 days. It's just not going to happen. So, if you're the type of person where, I can stay on campus for Thanksgiving and I'll be fine, and, I'll miss my family, won't be too overbearing. Or if you're the type of person that is going to get really, really homesick over stuff like that, then I'm not saying stay home, but pick a school that's closer. I've lived at school in Queens my first 2 years, and I liked it because I was far enough where I had a life of my own and I was very independent. But if I did, need to run home because I wanted food or I wanted to do my laundry, it was 40 minutes away. It was not a problem.
Not a problem. That's a good thing. So the other tip we have is to think about student loans. Personally, I think about student loans all the time because, I go to a private school. So as you guys know about private school, it's more expensive than going to a state school. And, that was one thing I stressed about before, starting college. Either I go to a state school or private school. So my situation was, I went to a community college for 2 years and then I transferred over to a private school. So she would explain, she told me that, what was best for me to do was, why not go to the private school because it's only for 2 years and going to another school for 4 years.
Right. you have to like assess the number of years your program is.
Exactly.
So for like something like the nursing program, all the state schools, theirs was 4 years. It didn't matter if you had an associate's or if you went somewhere else for 2 years.
Exactly.
Their program was 4 years. LIU Brooklyn was one of the only schools that their program was 2 years. You had an associate's and it transferred over and that was fine. So yeah, you know, all the state schools were less per year, but you're timesing that by 4.
Exactly.
Where the private school was a little bit more per year, but you only timesing that by 2. So I guess like also assess that. Another thing you can assess is if you want to go, or if, you know, your career, I guess requires higher education. So if your career only requires a bachelor's and you go for 4 years and that's it, then, you know, you can really, I guess you have more freedom to choose what school you want to go to. But if you want to go to law school or med school or something, you don't want to graduate with undergrad with 6 figures of debt. Because next thing you know, you're going to be $500,000 in debt and you're going to be paying that off for the rest of your life.
So the good thing about, like, you know, for instance, you know, my career is that, you know, although I do go to a private school, I know that I could pay that off within a few months of working after I graduate. So that's the kind of benefit that I have right now with my career.
Yeah, I guess that's a third thing you can also assess to like picking your school. If your like career salary will either be like half or more of your student loans.
Exactly.
Like, don't go to a school that's going to land you $200,000 in debt and then your career starting salary is $40,000. That's not...
Doesn't make sense at all.
Because you figure, like, when you graduate school, you don't necessarily want to be, you know, living at your house for the next 5 years. You know, if you live or if you went to a school that's really far and you didn't have a car, now you're coming home and you need things like a car and, you know, that's insurance and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that you need outside of college that you don't really think you need when you're in college. So, you know, paying student loans monthly, you're going to end up staying home a lot longer than you wanted to. You're going to end up, you know, not getting a car when you feel like you wanted to and everything like that. So really just assess those 3 big things on what school you go to and, you know, assess the loans.
Okay.
The next one is time. Time is literally everything. Like, time goes by so fast. Like, I can't even believe that we're both graduating. Like, when we met, we were both fresh. Well, you were technically a freshman? Yeah, I guess like he's a year older than me, but we're the same academic year. Yeah. So basically when we met, we were both freshmen. And now like graduating in a month, you don't think it goes by fast,
it does.
But next thing you know, you're applying for graduation and you're like, so do whatever you want to do. Don't let anything hold you back. If you want to go into a club, but you're a little iffy, and you know, have some bad blood with one of the people on the e-board or something, just do it. Because when you push things off, the next thing you know, you're graduating and you're never going to be able to do what you wanted to do.
Connections, people. Connections take time and build those connections.
Yeah, connections are everything.
You never know who you go to school with that's going to be so-and-so as 2 years from the time you graduate. You never know who they know. So it's important to build those connections. Another thing we'll talk about is cramming. Cramming is not it.
Not it.
I'm telling you, like I said earlier in the video, like I cram and try to do things last minute. It doesn't work. Every time I cram, I always get mad at myself because I'm like, yo, if I just spent more time or did this earlier, I could have got a better grade, you know, after taking the exam.
Yeah, and you don't want to be in regret.
You know, and I hate doing things last minute. I hate it. Like, you realize how much work you have. Like, you know, if you actually took time, for instance, you know, Sunday, you know, it's actually the first day of the week. You actually start getting some things done Sunday. Then, you know, you might work your way into, you know, throughout the week, getting little by little done. You know, it'll actually lessen the workload that you have throughout the week. And it won't feel
as much. Like, I feel like if I'm doing work all day one day because it's due the next day, I'm like exhausted. But if I were to just do little by little, like an hour every day, it wouldn't even feel like you were doing that much work.
Exactly. So, especially if you have an exam that week, it's like, it really helps to like really start and get things done early. because you'd be surprised.
Finals week, midterms week, do not be one of those people that are up for 48 hours before a test because you didn't pay attention the whole semester. Right. Now you're teaching yourself the entire semester or the, entire curriculum. Just don't.
And for you guys out there that take Adderall, I do not understand you guys. Oh, I take Adderall. I'm gonna pop a pill, be up all night. What? Like, what are you doing that for?
It's not needed.
Like, how do you look like, come on, how do you look like doing that to yourself?
It's not needed. And I don't have any, experience with that. But I don't even know if that stuff helps.
I know a lot of people out there that take Adderall. Like, that's a waste of time. Like, what do you
I don't even know if it helps. Because you figure, you're up. But there's one thing of being up. And there's one thing of being alert. Mm-hmm. You could physically be up, but your brain is shut off. Exactly. So you think you're studying and you think you're absorbing all that knowledge, and you're not. And then you get there at the test, and now you're like, what?
I look at it like this. It's either you're prepared or you're not. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. So,
wait. It's just there. Unless you go back and take more accredited courses, which you're just spending money for what? Just for a better GPA, when you could have just did it your first time. It's not worth it.
Let that sink in, people.
Yeah. So tip number 5, get involved. Tip number 6, get involved. Mm-hmm. Even if you commute. Like, I know so many people that just commute and they go to class and they go back. And that, they know nothing about any clubs on campus, any professors that, are involved with certain things if they didn't physically have them. And then when it's time to, make your resume and show what you were involved on campus, or show, letters of recommendation, or these are the teachers that really liked me, or because for graduate schools and I guess places that ask for letters of recommendation, they don't only want recommendations from your teachers. They want recommendations from your advisors, or, if you're involved in a club, who advises that club. They like to see a difference in your types of letters of recommendation. If you just have 4 letters of recs and they're all from, professors, they're just going to automatically think, oh, they didn't really do anything by going to class.
Exactly. Truthfully, to be honest with you, I'm one of those people that, I'm not really involved with everything that goes on campus in my school, but at the same time, I do spend a lot of time, I do go through clinicals, lectures, and labs, and I'm always talking to my professors all the time, whether it's before class, after class, through email, outside of class. So
yeah, I feel like if you do have a major that requires clinicals and stuff like that, that's easy access for people for, to connect with you. That's easy access. You figure he's probably been to so many amount of hospitals in the past 2 years just from clinicals. And, a lot of schools and a lot of people also recognize your major. If you have something like a pharmacy major or a nursing major, they know you probably didn't have a lot of time to get involved in a club or go to this meeting or that meeting. But if you were a basic, I'm not going to say a basic major, but a communications or an English major, something that doesn't really have lecture, lab, and clinical for every single class.
You should get involved.
They're going to know that you had extra time on your hands.
Yeah, you should get involved.
Definitely get involved in whatever you want, whatever you're interested in, whether, it doesn't even have to be with your major. I'm a legal studies major, but I'm involved in criminal justice association. I know people that are, I guess business marketing majors, but they're in the fashion club or the Caribbean Students Association. There's so many things that you could just get involved when. It doesn't even have to advance your major.
That's true.
All right, tip number 7.
Put your schedules around each other. Okay. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so I get so many questions how do you do it? You're so busy. My freshman year, I ran track. So I ran track, I had school, and I also had 2 part-time jobs. And that's when we first started dating. I never, ever want to hear that you're too busy. I don't. And that is tip number 8. No, you're not busy. You're not too busy.
Listen, the way I see it, you have to make time for the people you want in your life, no matter what's going on. You could make time for anything you want going on in life as well.
It's so easy. I'm not gonna say put your schedule around Joe Schmo that you've been talking to for a month or something, but when we really, I guess, started getting serious, we would work our schedules around each other. So if he knew I had class and practice for a block of 6 hours, he would make sure that would be the day he goes to work. So, like, it's not that hard. Like, it's not that hard.
It's not.
Just if you manage your time and you stay organized, literally all these tips, it's just going to get easier. Because, like I said, I've had multiple things on my plate, and we've never really felt like there wasn't enough time to, engage in our relationship.
Exactly. Especially now with like quarantine going on now, I feel like we are able to, like, make more time for each other just due to the fact that we have to stay inside. So, I have online courses, so I just, take my time doing my online courses, and then as soon as I'm done, I'm gonna hang out with her,
Right.
As now we're making a YouTube video, because right now it's a Sunday night, and we don't have to really do anything. I did all my work earlier throughout the day, and now we had time.
Yeah, we make sure that if he has class, then I make sure I take that same time to do all my homework. And that's like not even because we're in quarantine. That's also, out. If he's at class, I know, all right, then I'll stay at school for an extra hour and I'll get my homework done. It's just a balance of your schedules.
That's all it is. You can do anything you put your mind to.
Anything you put your mind to. It doesn't matter, like I said, it doesn't matter the grades you have. Because I know so many people that struggled in high school that they automatically think college is not for them.
Exactly. Come on, let's talk about that. A lot of people. Like, you'd be surprised. Like, you could do so bad in high school, but then, you go to college, you mature a little bit. You'd be surprised, like, what you can do.
All the people that are like, oh, I'm not school people. I'm not a school person. You can't base that off of high school.
You can't.
And even if you don't, like, go to college, there's so many other things out there you can do. There's so many trades. There's so many, blue-collar jobs that provide and, require, schooling and stuff like that. Don't let high school and if you had an iffy year and you have an iffy GPA, you can still go to college and you can still change your whole life around.
That is true. That is definitely true. And don't think that, there's people that think college, you're just going to work, 9 to 5. You don't have to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of your life. You have to fund your lifestyle to get what you want.
Yes.
That's all it is.
And nowadays, like 2020, a bachelor's degree is literally like, I feel like it's looked at as nothing now. So only imagine what a high school diploma is looked at. Like 20, 30 years ago, a high school diploma probably could have got you somewhere. But now, like, I feel like a lot of people, like, if you don't even have a master's, they're like, oh, okay. And you're not going to really get the salary you want because you don't have the education.
That's true.
Even if you do land, somewhere with just a high school degree, eventually, if you keep on moving up the ladder, eventually it's going to require, you need to get your bachelor's or you need to get your master's. It's eventually going to happen. So you might as well do it when you're young. You might as well. Because don't be a person that, is
45 years old.
45 years old and you're like, oh, I got to take online classes and get my bachelor's. You're young. You figure you're 18, 19. If you have to work hard, that is the perfect time to do it.
Just get it done and over with. Why not? You're not going to go to school for the rest of your life. Just do it. Make that sacrifice.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's not even that bad, to be honest. Because, like I said, we both been in college. We work. And, we still have other things on the side that we do while we're in school the whole time. So, we still go on vacations. We still have fun. We still go out. We still do what we have to do. That's all it is,
Yeah. All right. Tip number 10 is whatever you do, make the most of it. Make the absolute most of it. You need to take advantage of every single opportunity that comes your way. Do not push off an internship for another semester. Do not push off another fellowship or, a research something. Don't push anything off. Make the absolute most of it. Because in a blink of an eye, you will be graduating and you will be finding a real job, and it will scare the hell out of you that you actually have to, do something with your life now. You're not in college anymore where it's all fun and games.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and like.
If this was helpful, definitely give a thumbs up.